Here's a look at, this is a diagram I made. I put this piece of paper on the mast step, the raised area, and this line is the outline of my non-skid. So the actual raised area is about another inch wider. Stern, bow. This is where I cut the fiberglass on the top to check for rot and dug that out. And that's where the mast step official goes. The metal mast step goes there. So I made this just so when I put things back together, if I lose some of the, points, like reference points, I can maybe get this in the right spot. So just trying to keep track of stuff. Here's what we have. I was able to grind this down. These are like probably about 8-to-1. This is probably about 5-to-1. I might take a little bit more off in some of these areas just to have a more consistent slope. And then in here I did cut the plywood at an angle. So as I put in new plywood, I'm going to cut that at an angle so it all compresses. And I drilled a whole bunch of holes here just to, I'll fill those with thickened epoxy with a syringe just for a little bit of extra, epoxy material in here. So I'm going to have my slip neighbor look at this before I go further, but that's pretty good progress today. Anyway, that's it. Cleaning up. Gotta go to a Christmas ship meeting tonight. So ho ho ho. It's another day and I am about to glass up the mast step. I've been working on this for a few days. I've got this area all taped off. I ground down, drilled holes so I can eject some epoxy in there. And then these are the pieces of plywood that I have fillers. They're filling in this space. This is all marine plywood. So we have a small one. These are all beveled. So as they go down in there, they're going to compress. So there's two, and the hole gets smaller. And then there's this one, and then this one. So these are all going to go in there. I'll wet this area out, fill these holes with thickened epoxy, wet these out, fill these holes with thickened epoxy as they're going in, layers of thickened epoxy between them until I get back up to this layer. And at that point we're going to wait and let things kind of cool down. And then I have 12 layers of biaxial glass cut to fill in this area, and we'll start with the largest piece and work our way back up. So I'm not going to film any of this because I'm not an expert at it, and I'm sure if you want to see somebody doing this stuff and see how to do it right, there's plenty of other people out there to watch. So I'm going to struggle, and then at the end of this day I'll turn this camera back on, or maybe in the middle I'll do a little bit of an update, but I'll just show you the end result. Little stopping point here. I've put all the wood in, so the new core material's in with thickened epoxy, and I put down this piece of wax paper, and now I have the old piece of fiberglass that came out of here on top of that with the battery. So I'm going to just leave that as it is for maybe half an hour or so and let it try and set up real good or real well, and then pull this off, and then we'll start doing the glass layers. Alright, that's it. So far so good. Okay, it's the next day. I did not finish this last night, so I left it for today. So the epoxy's all set now, but it also allowed me to really get a straight edge on this and see how much more I need to do. So here's what we're looking at right now. Here's the surface. A little bit of wax paper that stuck. I'll have to get rid of that. I'm gonna have to sand this anyway to get good adhesion for the next few layers. So if I put this on there, we're about down 1/4 inch either way, and it's, you can see it's mostly in this middle part. So I did cut a whole bunch of new fiberglass to go in here. I think it's 5 layers to build this up. So I'm going to do a little bit of filling here with the first layer, and then the second layer is going to be wider, and then do that normal thing where we start with the biggest one and work our way to the smallest one, and that should get us up to about that height. So I'm just trying to get everything ready so that when I do this, I'm just ready to go again. So, but this is looking pretty good. So we'll finish this up today. I'm done with the lamination. I'm just letting it cure. I'm gonna get out of here for now, but there it is. That's the final layer, I think. When it's all cured, we'll come back and check it and just make sure, but should be ready for a little bit of sanding, grinding, and then fairing. Hopefully not too much grinding. Anyway, that's that for now. Back at it. I think it's been a day, and it's been raining, so kind of a weird mid-June rain, but the glass is all set up, and here it is. And I think I made typical rookie mistake in that I overfilled some areas. There's some places that are higher than the outside area. I mean, I want this to be higher anyway. I want it to slope down, but this is very high. So I am going to put a straight edge on it, use a Sharpie to kind of mark some areas that should be sanded or ground down. I'm gonna start working on this, trying to fair it, get it, not fair it, but get it so that it's ready for fairing. I'm gonna start with a belt sander. I'm gonna see how that works, just see if that's what I need to use. Boatworks today YouTube channel, he was using a belt sander like this on a project, and it works a little better, I think, because it's a little bit longer of a surface than my random orbit sander, which is round, which should just follow the contours. So we're going to see what we can do here. Anyway, I'm going to mask up and start sanding this down. This is going pretty well with this tool. So I've done a couple of passes over it, and I've just remarked everything that I need to go back over. So I'm going to keep using this to grind this down. Getting rained out here, so I'm going to head out. I did get this sanded a little bit, but I'm going to call it good for today. It's pretty rainy, and I've got this weekend coming up that I'll have down here. Yeah, working out here in the rain is not that fun. All right, sail on. So I've got this all taped off with new paper taped off, and then this is weather stripping that I put in here. This is an 1/8 of an inch thick. So the plan is to fill this entire thing to that level, and that's the plan. So I've consulted with my slip neighbor, and we've decided I should just go for it. So it's time to do it. I just got to do it. So if it messes up, can always grind it out, I guess. So all right, we'll see how it goes. Check in later. It's all set up, and you can see it's definitely got imperfections on the surface. So I'm going to be sanding that down, and then we're going to do another thinner fairing coat on it to get it just right. So hopefully I can sand this now and do one more coat. I also will be putting some non-skid on this, so it doesn't have to be perfect, because the non-skid will hide some minor imperfections. So that's where we are right now. All right. I don't know where I am in these videos, so I'm just going to take some footage right now. In here I ground off the bolts that were too long and put on these acorn nuts, So those all went on really well. It looks great. Nice little bit of a finished look. And then I did sand down this bulkhead and have a coat of paint on it. I've got to do one more coat on that in the morning tomorrow. Also on this side, same thing. Acorn nuts, and yeah, so just kind of starting to clean, well, not clean, but getting some things buttoned up in here. I'm about, let's see, I'm about 12 days from the date that I'm supposed to put the mast up. The mast step is now faired. I used the 407 filler from West Systems, and if you use that and then you sand it, you're supposed to put a barrier coat on it. So I did that today. I put 3 coats of unthickened epoxy on that, so that's curing. So tomorrow I'll sand that down lightly and then put some topside paint on that, and then later, sometime later, I'll put some non-skid in that area, but not now. Just wanted to get some footage of this thing before I paint it. So here it is, faired out. I lightly sanded it because we're going to be putting some paint on this. I'm painting to the blue line. It's not completely, I mean, eventually I'm going to redo all these decks anyway, so I'm not too concerned about it, but going to paint to the blue line. This is the West Systems 407 filler, which is one of the 2 types that's for fairing. This type's a little more structural, so I use that because it's going to have the mast step on it. So I'm going to do a clean this with some acetone, let it dry, and then I'm going to paint this. But this is kind of the final deal. There's some little imperfections here, but none of that matters because eventually this is going to get some non-skid on it. So anyway, that's it. So we'll see how it goes. Started this channel. We always said that you didn't have to go very far to have an adventure. And here we are, just going down these floating homes that are just downstream of our moorage, and there's an adventure. We could be anywhere. We could be in Florida, in the swamps. We could be in, this doesn't really look like Mexico.
No, this is not Mexico.
But it could be Florida.
Yeah,
because it looks like the
swampland.
swamps. So, make your adventure where you live, because you don't have to go very far to have an adventure. A quick comment about the mast step. So this is the mast step, and it does have a little bit of corrosion on the bottom, so I'm trying to get all of that sanded and ground off, and I'll probably prime this with a aluminum primer and get some paint on it just to help protect it as it goes back together. But if you remember, this thing had there was some dishing on the top of the fiberglass mast step, so where this was pressing down. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to put this on top of a bigger plate and just spread the load a little bit more. I figure this is about a ½ inch all the way around, just over, but that's going to add quite a bit of surface area to the footprint. So hopefully we'll reduce the chance that the fiberglass epoxy repairs that I've done are going to compress under the weight of this, just because it's a little bit bigger. So I've pre-drilled the holes for the lag screws, and I've still got to drill out this for the cabling, but that's the plan. So that's what I'm working on now. So I think I was explaining, I was adding this plate to help support the mast, the weight of it, and I've pre-drilled these together, and now I've drilled the mast step that I built up with fiberglass or epoxy. So these are the holes for the lag bolts, lag screws, That's the hole that's going to take the wiring out of the mast. These things are going to sit on here like that. That all gets bolted down with 1/4 inch 3/16 stainless bolts. So, of course, I went ahead and over drilled the holes. I'm going to fill these with thickened epoxy today. I'm going to also coat this with epoxy unthickened just to help seal it, just in case any water gets in here. And then I'm going to wait 2 days before I bolt this all down. So it was not fun drilling through this that I've already built, but that's just part of the process. This boat work is not for sissies. So it's Sunday and the mast is scheduled to go up on Wednesday, so I've been here yesterday and today doing a flurry of stuff. Didn't film much of it, so I'll just do a quick tour of where we are. Kind of just cleaning stuff up for the day, but let's see. Well, we'll start up here, I guess. Got the spreaders back on and got the shrouds tied in with the spreaders. Had to adjust the mast. Got almost all the hardware kind of put back on and tightened up. Did the wiring for the lights and also at the masthead. Few little details on that to just get it secured, which I'll do before Wednesday. Not much going on up here, but yeah, so spreaders is the main thing. And got my steamer light on up there. Just get a shot of my masthead work. So there we are. We have a tricolor and masthead light. We have a new VHF antenna, we have a new Windex, and that got all kind of finalized today as well. So, got a few other things to do, and then, it's like Wednesday's coming, so tomorrow morning I have off, and then I have a job, Tuesday I have a job, Tuesday afternoon I have off, and Wednesday I have off, so I'm hoping that between tomorrow morning and Tuesday afternoon I can get everything done that I need to get done. I think I will. Or whatever I don't, I'll have to go up and do it later if there's anything that gets lost, missed, or whatever. Alright, well that's it, so I'm going home. Alright, sail on. It is Tuesday, and the boat is scheduled to have its mast up on Wednesday, so that's tomorrow. So here it is, ready to go, I guess, as far as I know. Got all my little final details that I absolutely wanted to get done. There's so much more I could have done, and there always will be, but it'll be exciting to get this up tomorrow and come back and have a boat with a vertical mast instead of a horizontal one. So we'll see how well I sleep tonight. I might be restless. So we're going to pull out tomorrow at 9 and head down to Rocky Point, just downstream, and that's where we're going to have the mast restepped. That's it. So I will try and put a time lapse on the boat tomorrow when we're down there off the boat, pointed at the boat, so we can see this this time. Okay, anyway, that's it. Sail on. Well, I left the GoPros in my car, so we didn't get any of this on film, but we did get the mast up, and there she is down there with the mast up. It went all right. We had 4 people plus 2 guys from the boat yard, and we were probably wrestling with the thing for about an hour, maybe a little bit longer, but it's in. The elevation of the mast definitely has changed, so we had to do a bunch of adjusting of the wires, but and I think I screwed up, switched a couple of the lower shrouds, so I'm gonna have to go climb up to the spreaders, unhook those and change those, but it's up. and that's exciting. It's next big step done. That was a big one. So be a couple days before I get back down here to do some of that stuff, but that'll be good. All right, sail on.